What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Fantasy Pros. This is Leading Off Live, the Fantasy Baseball Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Orrico, rejoined by KC Bubba after a brief hiatus on Monday. We are going to be bringing you through some fantasy baseball news and notes, but this one is going to be a little bit different. I want to focus in on some pickups over the last week or so. We're going to talk about some pitching streamers for today and tomorrow, and we're going to answer your questions. So fill up the chat if you got anything on streaming, pickups, drops, even 2026 draft questions. We'll be happy to answer them for you. Bubba, great to be back with you, my friend. How you doing today?
Always doing well. Good chatting with you as usual. Only a few more times, my friend, for the 2025 season. So we'll finish it hard, give everybody what they need to win their fantasy baseball titles, talk a little baseball, have fun. And yeah, good to be here.
Good to be here as always. And now I'm thinking about it. We got today, we got Friday, and then we got next Wednesday. And I think that'll be curtains for us. We got three more shows. And
I think we get kicked to the side for Friday, I think. So yeah, we're pretty much donezo.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'll be invited for the Joey P and Welsh show. I still haven't had those conversations yet, but we'll see. Either way, we got 5 more shows starting today, Bubba and myself, for at least 3 of them. And I wanted to mix things up a little bit and just talk about a couple of pickups, some pitching streamers for the next couple of days. Somebody commented on the video on the previous one, like, we don't need to talk about headlines this time of year. And at first I was like, but you're kind of right, honestly. Going through like how good of a season Julio Rodriguez had or whatever is not really helping you right now. So let's talk about some pickups. So we're going to go through some of the most added players today and just talk about their viability. If you think they're worthy of a pickup, these are just looking at Yahoo and the players that are getting added a lot today. And the number one ad for position players was Micky Moniak, Bubba. He's been really solid. And we talked about him the other day with Ryan. He had a double combo meal, 2 homers and 2 steals. Do you like his viability here over the final week and a half of the season? He has flourished in Colorado this year. Would you be trusting him for the final 10 games or so?
I'd be trusting him for the rest of this week. I'll say that much because he does get the Coors experience. He had a home run on Tuesday night, which is always a plus with that ballpark setup. And the matchups are great this week. Looking at the pitching planner that we have, he's got one of the best team setups, especially this weekend. He gets Kyle Hendricks and Caden Dana over the weekend as the 2 righties in the 3 matchups there. So you love to see that. And if you even take a peek ahead at next week's schedule, it's all on the road, but it's 5 more righties, and it's a friendly weekend setup against the Giants. So it's a good run. I'd prefer him this week in Coors, maybe make adjustments next week, but definitely a guy that you could, if you had to hang on to him next week, wouldn't be the worst thing.
Yeah, I've been pretty impressed by him this year with Moniak. Is this something that you will buy into again next year? He should be back in Colorado. He's giving you a 20-10 type of season. Is this something that you'll invest in as a starting outfielder in 2026?
I'd be interested. I don't know if a starting outfielder, I had him in a lot of DCs, draft and holds formats, just for this reason, like play him in Coors, sit him on the road. Life is good in that scenario. Make sure he's got a bunch of righties to face, so on and so forth, because he is very dependent on that, is the only downside. But coming into the season, the same thing I said is a former number 1 overall draft pick for the Philadelphia Phillies, I believe. So the skills were there, just never really came to fruition. And he's definitely a guy that if you don't draft him next year, you will stream him throughout the season.
Yeah, even if you're just in a more shallow format, a standard 12-team league, you're picking him up for a Coors series or a Coors week. That can be magic, as we've seen this year. I believe he was traded for Logan O'Hoppe. I think that's what happened.
You are correct.
I believe that's what it was. Joe in the chat saying he actually faces a lefty today, so only 3 starts out of his next 5 games, but all at Coors. So I think depending on your options, Micky Moniak is probably somebody that still is worth starting. And like he says here as well, gets 5 righties next week on the road. So you kind of got to weigh the pros and cons there on the road, but also facing right-handers. Let's talk a little Sal Stewart. He has played 12 games. He's hit 4 home runs. He's scored 8 times. He's hitting 275. He's not striking out a lot. Sal Stewart seems like a fairly legit asset here for the next couple of weeks now. Cincinnati is going to be back at home starting tomorrow, and they'll be at home for about a week, and then they'll go back on the road to Milwaukee. But is Sal Stewart somebody that you would be interested in picking up, Bubba, just for the next week while they're at home in Cincinnati?
100%. The power profile is legit. A guy that didn't show a ton of swing and miss at the minor league level, which was great. Playing time was my concern because he was like playing like 70% of the time, which is still good. But if you're looking for maximizing at bats, not great. But right now with Spencer Steer's neck injury and other situations, he's kind of Sal Stewart's forced his way into the lineup now, making it 5 straight starts, which is a plus. So for the power profile, with going back to Great American, yeah, this is a guy you definitely want to have on your roster to finish out the season.
Yeah, I've been very impressed. 18% barrel rate, 47% hard hit rate. The swinging strike rate is only 10%. He's making good contact. Chases a little bit too much, but considering this is his first cup of coffee, I've been pretty impressed with what we've seen so far. Oh man, 12 team head-to-head points. Someone dropped Story. Should I drop Ellie Dela Cruz for him?
Yes.
Like
In a
Ellie,
head-to-head league, yes.
you're fine with that? Yeah.
I've said it for a couple of months now. We talked about him on some Bloomberg. I think we talked about him here a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Ellie's second half is dramatically horrible, is the nicest way I could put it. And if you have him in a head-to-head, you're lucky to be in the semifinals right now. He has one home run like over the last 2 months. He's not stealing bases. He's drowning your team. So kudos to you for whatever else you drafted, because Ellie should have been your top pick and he's crushing you right now. So the fact you're there, great. Drop him, pick up Story, who's absolutely on fire this season.
Yeah, honestly, the more I think about it, at first when I saw it, I was like, come on. But honestly, you know what? I don't have a problem with it as crazy. It's like the Tyler Wells, Spencer Strider thing from a couple of weeks ago. It's like, yeah, okay, at this time of year, you'll do some things that maybe feel crazy, but they aren't really that crazy.
Exactly.
My premium Twitch renewed, and I don't use it for anything but this show. There's a ton of Fantasy Pros content on the football side, and we will be back doing baseball content throughout the offseason and heading into 2026 Fabby. So appreciate the subscription. Really, really do appreciate all the help you guys have given us in our first year on Twitch. You guys have made it possible for us to do that. So I really do appreciate the help there. Let's talk about another guy who's been rather hot, and he's also among the top pickups of the day, and that's Caleb Durbin. Put together a fairly solid season as a whole here. 11 homers, 16 steals. He's hitting 264. Is he a viable ad for the next week or so, Bubba? Milwaukee right now facing the Angels, and then they'll be at St. Louis over the weekend.
I think so. I guess let me preface. If you need batting average, you need stolen bases. Yes, that's the wheelhouse you're looking for. There's not a lot of power here, but if he gets on, he's stealing, he's scoring runs. He's actually driving them more than I thought recently. So yes, to your question, great set of matchups. He gets to finish off versus the Angels, like you said. In St. Louis, like come on, he gets Miles Mikolas on Saturday, and then Liberatore, who yes pitched well, but still there are avenues to success there. Next week's a tough schedule, but we can approach that when you get there. For the rest of this week, Durbin is definitely in play.
I like Durbin. Another guy I like. I feel like I've been butchering his name, and I did it on the show with Ryan the other day. Daylen Lile. I think it's pronounced Lyle.
Yep, it is.
Man, has he been good. Man, has he ever been good. It's 82 games as a whole this year. He's hitting 291, 6 homers and 8 steals with just a 15% strikeout rate. But he's really picked things up as of late. And I feel like we're at the point of the year where this is the type of guy where I don't really care how much you believe in the long-term prospects. He's hitting today. And that's all that really matters. I'd be picking him up wherever you can, personally. What do you think about Daylen Lile, Bubba?
Yep, I've been pounding the drum for about 3 or 4 weeks now. I've had many shares of him. I was actually shocked to see he was still available in like 55 NFB COCs this week. It's just baffling when people just check out for the season. I think I even wrote him up for the Fantasy Pros Fab article this past Friday because he's so low owned in fantasy Yahoo streets. But yes, pick up Daylen Lile. He's hitting cleanup. He's hitting for power, speed. He's doing it all. So yes, please do that.
Yeah, when I look at him, I don't know that it's like, oh, I'm going to buy in next year, blah, blah, blah. Like, he doesn't barrel the ball up a ton, 4.5% barrel rate, 40% hard hit rate, but the plate discipline metrics are really, really encouraging. Makes a lot of contact in the zone. He doesn't swing and miss a lot. He doesn't chase a lot. So I definitely am interested for the time being. These guys are hot, right? I dropped Seiya Suzuki the other day for Harrison Bader in a very shallow home league, and at first I was like, this feels wrong. You know, Seiya Suzuki's been so good all year, but you're playing the hot hands. You really are playing the hot hands right now, and Lyle is maybe the hottest among them that you're going to find on a lot of waiver wires. One more position player I wanted to mention, and that's Kody Clemens, the son of the Rocket, of Roger Clemens, who's been pretty solid as a utility guy for Minnesota this year. 19 home runs, 3 stolen bases. He's not hitting for a particularly high batting average, but he's eligible all over the place, and he's been pretty good as of late, Bubba. So any interest in picking up Kody Clemens here if you just need kind of a utility bat for the weekend?
If you need a utility bat, if you don't need batting average like you mentioned, sure, yes. And he's got all righties on. Well, he's got 6 righties next week, which is huge. Flipping back to this week's schedule, he gets a couple lefties Saturday and Sunday. He might not play both of those, so that'd be the only concern because he pretty much sits for his lefties. But yes, viable all over the diamond. He's streaky, and he's streaking well right now. So if you need something like that, then he's not a bad play.
Just want to remind you guys before we keep going that we are giving away the Billy Wagner signed baseball, courtesy of our friends over at pristineauction.com. All you have to do to enter is subscribe to the Fantasy Pros MLB YouTube channel right now. Drop a comment below on any video, and that's it. We'll be announcing one lucky winner right here on the channel. So make sure to turn on those notifications so you know when new videos are up and to claim your prize. We gave away the jersey, but we still have that Billy Wagner signed baseball for you guys to get your hands on. Let's take a couple of questions here from Joe. Need to drop one, Bader or Vientos? I can't drop Bader right now. Leading off for that hot Phillies lineup. Vientos has been impressive in the second half, and he's turned his year around. But I think Vientos has to be the drop here still, Bubba.
Agreed. As Bader's leading off, nuclear hot, like Vientos is good, still sits from time to time. Bader's the dude. I'd hope you'd have other options to drop.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? I think if you're talking about 12 team league, if that's your worst option, you're doing pretty well, Joe. I think if
that's
Vientos
what
is
I'm
your worst
thinking.
player,
Exactly. So I hope there's other options. Otherwise, you're fine.
You're looking pretty if that's your worst option. Question about James Wood. What's up with James Wood? Fatigue, just going through the motions with the Nats in the second half. I don't know what's going on with James Wood. I think part of it is just adjusting to the big leagues, right? Like he had a monstrous first half. He was really good at last season, but in the second half this year, 53 games, it's 3 homers, it's 3 steals. He's hitting .214. The league adjusted to him, and he has to kind of adjust back is the simplest way I think you can put it. The sophomore slump, etc. I think he's going to be fine at the end of the day, but he's essentially now, right where he was in draft season in terms of total value. He's like around the 60th player overall. It's kind of where he was getting drafted, so he's essentially broken even. But what are your thoughts on James Wood, Bubba? Is this going to make you kind of nervous to draft him next year with a second or third round pick, or will you be all in?
I'll still be back in on James Wood. The profile of the skills are undeniable. He's super young. I agree with a lot of what you said. I also think, I wouldn't be surprised if we find out he's been battling some injury for like the second half of the season. It just seems so odd to drop off that much. Yeah, there are the adjustments to your point, and there's a lot to be said about those. That does happen. It's a dramatic drop, which is pretty interesting. So I'm still interested for next year to your original question. And it sucks. Yeah, he's not Ellie Deli cruising your team, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, he's just been like pretty terrible, honestly. Like if James Wood or PCA, you think, which one would you have more confidence in for next season?
Still James Wood. He has a better, skills profile when it comes to quality of contact. I'd go with plate discipline. I'd go with James Wood on that one.
I think I would too. PCA's starting to get hot again, right in time for people to buy in, but it's close. I think they'll be pretty close in terms of like their ADP where they get drafted in a lot of rooms, but that'll be a fun one to follow over the final couple of weeks here, if I can find my words, and then into the offseason. Hey guys, second to last week in my draft and hold, barely hanging on to the number 1 spot going into final week. I asked last week, still seesawing between Lewis 4 at Cleveland and Torque 3 home ATL for my CI this weekend. It's got to be Royce Lewis for me with the way he's been playing the extra game. I think it's got to be Lewis there.
Got to be Lewis. The extra games, got those 2 lefties over the weekend. And if you're in a draft and hold, it is all about maximizing at bats. So yeah, take on your Royce Lewis this weekend.
What do you think about Royce Lewis, Bubba, with what we've seen this year between the injuries and not only just the injuries now, but kind of the subpar season? I know he's turned things around recently, but it's an 85 WRC plus, 12 homers. What do you think the long-term outlook is for Royce Lewis? Because people were expecting him to be a superstar even just a year ago. What are your expectations going forward as of now?
I still love the profile, like a humongous fan of Royce Lewis. I think we're at the point that is he injury prone is a legit question with Royce Lewis. That's an annoying question. But at the same time, does that mean his ADP drops down? Like, does he get the Giancarlo treatment? Like now we're drafting him in the 8th or 9th round. And if that is the case at a third base position, that's sketch. Interesting. Because it's one of those deals. If he even plays 100 and 115 games, he probably pays off that draft price. So I like Royce Lewis. It's all about injury management, mitigation, whatever you want to call it. That's the hardest part.
He's the younger version of Corey Seager. I think you were trending that way. You get 120 games, you're good. But if not, then it's tough, right?
It's fair. It's good comp, unfortunately.
That was the first one off the top of my head, and also kind of like Mike Trout or Buxton. But I feel like he's Corey Seager right now.
Yep, that's fair.
Let's talk a couple of starting pitching streamers. If you're listening on the podcast feed, it'll be a little bit trickier. This is more for the live crowd, but I just want to talk about who people are picking up for Wednesday, and who are people picking up for Thursday? So the first option in terms of the widely available name still, he probably shouldn't be widely available, but Tyler Wells against the White Sox, Bubba, he's looked very good. But the White Sox also have been hitting the ball a lot better as of late. Kyle Teal has been, tugging at the heartstrings for me for a while. Would you be willing to start Tyler Wells here? Let's say it's a finals matchup. Would you risk that with Tyler Wells?
Yeah, I'm all in on Tyler Wells. He was one of my top streams for the week. If you're doing weekly leagues, I think I agree with the White Sox. I've been pumping them up for a while now. You got your Teal, your Vargas, your Clinton Sosa's, your Montgomery's. This is a young core that could be pretty fun to watch for a while, and they're swinging it well, but they still swing and miss a lot. And that's what Tyler Wells can do. He's really good for the ratios in his first 2 outings. The walks are low, the strikeouts are high. Probably goes 5 innings, hopefully 6. That's the kicker. Does he go deep enough? But we saw what Kyle Bradish did on Monday. Absolutely crushed him. He had 9 Ks or something against the White Sox. I have a lot of similarities between Wells and Bradish. I think Wells is one of the better streams this week. It's baseball. Anything can happen, but on paper, we rock and roll.
Anything can happen. Michael Wacha might give up 7 runs for you, and you just can't do anything about it. Sometimes those ones just really do bite you in the rear. Brady Singer is the next guy I wanted to bring up because he's facing St. Louis. Brady Singer quietly has been very good in the second half. 1 or 2 stinkers, but overall a very good line. And he gets to face St. Louis, who is abysmal. If you look over the last 3 weeks, roughly 3 weeks, St. Louis is arguably the worst offense in baseball outside of the Rockies. So I'm willing to stream Brady Singer here where he's still available in those shallow formats. Bubba, what about you?
Yes, Brady Singer, locked and loaded. Dude's been an absolute beast on the mound, and honestly, doesn't feel like he gets the love he deserves. If we're just talking recent performances, to your point, he's been great over his last 6 starts. He's allowed 3 runs or less in every start, 6 quality starts in a row. 6 in a row. He's got 6 innings every single time. He has a 2 ERA, a 3.4 Sierra, which is fine. But more impressively with Brady Singer, a guy that everybody used to say, he pitches to contact. He's a ground ball guy. 36 strikeouts to 9 walks in those 36 innings, Joe, for almost 20% K to walk, which is great. Now, there could be regression coming. BABIP's very low, but, man, you ride this one out. Great matchup against a Cardinals team, Joe, that is one of the worst hitting teams in baseball over the last month versus righties. They're behind, obviously, the Guardians, but they're down the list for sure.
I feel like we've been piling on to producer Seth recently, who's a Cardinals fan. And every time we talk about the Cardinals, it's just like, oh, yeah, they're terrible. They're terrible. Apologies, Seth. And shout out to Seth and to Callie, who've done a great job producing the show behind the scenes this year. Haven't given them enough love personally, but they've been fantastic. Give them some love in the chat if you can. Let's talk a little bit about, actually, before that, with Brady Singer, the ground ball rate, like you mentioned earlier, there's always been a thing with him, around 50%. If I told you his ground ball rate was going to go down into the 30s this year, and he'd still give up fewer homers than he normally does, going to Great American Ballpark, I think you would have been shocked by it. But he's been great. He really has been great. I'm using him right now in a couple formats, and will continue to do so for the rest of the season. Let's talk Ryan Weathers. This one, the only reason it gives me a little bit of pause is because it's at Coors Field. Again, same situation. People are in head-to-head finals right now. If the season's on the line, is Ryan Weathers worth that risk at Coors?
Yeah, he's back. You picked him up for a reason. When healthy, he's one of the better pitchers in baseball. He looked great in his return. You saw Yuri Perez dominate on Tuesday night out of nowhere. That was bizarro world. Now, the Rockies are hitting better versus lefties, surprisingly good versus lefties over the last month. I still throw, if I have Weathers, I'm throwing Weathers, and we're seeing how it goes.
Now, here's what I want to bring up, because somebody in my Patreon chat mentioned it a few weeks ago, and I was completely wrong on this. They said, should I pick up Justin Verlander? And I said, come on. Come on. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do this to yourself heading into the fantasy playoffs. And my sincere apologies, because if you did pick up Justin Verlander, he's been brilliant for the last 4 starts. 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 5 innings clean, 6 innings clean, 7 innings, 1 earned run. Facing teams like the Dodgers, the Orioles, the Cubs. It's not just the terrible, terrible teams in here. So with that being said, is Justin Verlander worth starting for you today as he faces the Diamondbacks in Arizona?
Yeah, you're rolling it out there, like you said. I clowned on Verlander earlier in the season. I've done a 180 over the last month or so, because if you want to go deeper, back to July 23rd, he's made 10 starts. 2 of the starts, he's allowed 11 earned runs. The other 8 starts, he's allowed 4 earned runs combined. That is outstanding how well he's gone. He's gone 57 Ks and 55 and a third. He's been great. D-backs can be pesky. I totally get that. It's not the most warm and fuzzy situation there, but love Verlander for this. And if you're trying to plan ahead for next week, he has a 2-step, and it's a very nice two-step, finishing with Colorado in San Francisco on Sunday. I believe it's the Cardinals to start the week. Sorry, Seth. So it's a really good 1-2 punch for Verlander. When we don't know who's actually going to pitch those starts, Verlander, of all pitchers, should pitch both those starts. There's really no reason not to have him pitch those starts. So, yes, today, love him for next week as well.
It's crazy. I can't believe we're here. I thought he was totally finished. I thought he was done.
Started out the year that way, man. I watched it every fifth day. It's brutal.
He's come back from being a meme and just something that you make fun of Ben Verlander for to like, oh, well, he might help me win a fantasy championship this season. So good on Verlander.
Well, we still make fun of Ben Verlander. So
we'll still make fun of Ben Verlander. No questions about it. That's it for today. I think those are the most viable options today, but there's 4 of them. Tomorrow is a little bit more on the thin side. I want to ask you about Colin Ray. I forget if it's Colin Ray or Colin Rea. I think it's Ray, but do you know if it's Ray or Ray actually, Bubba?
I've said Ray forever, so I'm just going to stick with it. I'm good at mispronouncing names, but at least I'm consistent when I do it. So we're going with Ray.
Now, the question is, are you going with him as he faces, it is Cincinnati, I believe, at Great American Ballpark tomorrow. Would you be willing to use him? He has a 4.23 ERA, 131 whip for the year. Nothing terribly impressive, but in a pinch as a streamer, would you be willing to?
Nope. I know the Reds offense hasn't been like a world beater, but you put him in that ballpark, a guy that pitches to a lot of contact. I am not taking those chances this time of the year.
I think that's probably fair. What about Steven Kolek? He's facing a team that is red hot in Seattle, who's been great. But the last 4 starts for Steven Kolek have all been 2 earned runs or fewer, where he's gone at least 6 innings. So what do you think?
Yeah, I actually streamed him last week, and I got away with it. He's been very good. I'm not putting him up against the Red Hot Mariners. Their team is just insanely hot, not to mention Kolek, another guy that pitches a lot of contact, so I just don't want to run into that road.
I think that's fair, too. The last one I want to ask you about here is Sandy Alcantara, who has been mostly dependable in the second half, but also in August, there was a 5 earned run game and a 6 earned run game. 2 starts ago was 4 earned runs. The strikeouts have been better, but he's not – I don't know if he's all the way back to being Sandy yet. He's most of the way back, but Coors Field, fantasy playoff season. Are you risking it?
Yeah, I am. I like what we've seen from Sandy. Yes, it's not 100% every time out there for him, but we're seeing nice velocity. We're seeing the swing and miss come back the last couple of weeks. If you're going to pick on anybody, it's Colorado. Like I said, Yuri Perez out of freaking nowhere on Tuesday night. I'll take my chances with Sandy again. It's the preface all the time. Anything can happen in baseball, but love the matchup. I'm going to roll with it.
Big Dance is asking Sandy or Yuri for the last couple of weeks. Sandy has at Colorado and then at Philly. Yuri is at Texas and then versus the Mets.
Oof. I'm going to go with Sandy just because I don't trust Yuri at all. He had that great start there, but I don't trust Yuri Perez. I think he's either tired or still hurt. Or both.
Yeah, he's kind of like where Sandy was a few months ago, where he's still not, he's back, but he's not really back. He's not quite ready. Next year, I feel like Yuri is going to be somebody that I'm interested in. Another year 100%. Removed from the injury, but trusting him right now. I mean, if you used him yesterday, you're very happy, but right now, I think it's a little bit of a dicey proposition to trust Yuri Perez heading into the fantasy playoffs. But guys, before we keep going, I want to remind you we're extremely excited to announce our new presenting sponsor, which is Hard Rock Bet. Everybody knows and loves the Hard Rock hotels and casinos, and now you can use the top-rated Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook to place your bets all NFL season and beyond. Hard Rock Bet is the only legal sportsbook in the state of Florida and is also available in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, and Colorado, with more states launching all the time. You can also play on Hard Rock Bet's online casino if you are in New Jersey. From here on out, you'll start to see us using Hard Rock Bet lines more and more when we are talking about the games. As we gear up for the NFL season and as we now enter into week 3, sign up for Hard Rock Bet and make a $5 bet and you'll get a $150 in bonus bets if you win. Head over to Hard Rock Bet, sign up, and make your first deposit today. All right, guys, let's keep it going. We have a couple of more questions in the chat here. Are we starting Cole Reagans today in a points league? We're going to talk about him a little bit later. Might as well do it right now. Cole Reagans making his return. He is facing the Mariners, and the Mariners have been, like we mentioned earlier, very, very good. But if you've been holding Cole Reagans all year long, I'd argue what were you holding him for if not to start him when he's back? So I'm starting him, but Bubba, what do you think?
Yeah, to your last point, that's where I'm kind of at. Like, if you held him this long, you're starting him. You might only get one more start with them. Now it's a points league, so I don't know if he'll qualify for a win or a quality start. I don't know what they're going to do with him there, but the strikeouts were there in the rehab. hopefully they'll be there today and you don't get bamboozled by a very good Mariners offense.
Definitely a chance at it. Now, if everything stays the way it's lined up, looking at the projected starters grid I'm looking at, he'd pitch today. He'd pitch on Tuesday against the Angels, which you'd like a lot. And he's scheduled to pitch the last game of the season against the Athletics in Sacramento. So potentially 3 Cole Reagan starts. I don't know how excited anybody would be about starting him in Sacramento right now, but it's 3 starts, right? How many guys are getting 3 starts the rest of the way, let alone a guy with ace upside like Reagan? So I think it's definitely something interesting to keep an eye on if you are looking for a pitcher. And he's out there. He might be, if you're playing in a shallower league. Went from Kaisertrex to Hard Rock, but a season of growth. Yes, absolutely. The Kaisertrex ad reads, I'm just upset that they got rid of them before it was my time to take over as the host, because I was really looking forward to doing some Kaisertrex.
I was looking forward to you reading those too.
I did not get as lucky. Did I do one maybe earlier in the year? No, because when I filled in earlier, it was either with Joe or Welsh, and they were the number one in the host chair. So I would not have had to do that, unfortunately. Hopefully, somewhere in the future, we can talk about Kaisertrex again. But we've given them enough free airtime. Let's talk about the 3 up and 3 down. Dominic Canzone with a holy crap type of game yesterday. 3 homers, 4 runs, 4 ribbies. It's kind of a shame, selfishly, you hit 3 home runs. You're thinking, maybe he'd drive in more than just 4, but you take what you get here. I mean, I can't complain about a 3-homer game. 72 games for him, 10 homers. He's hitting .304 with a 143 WRC plus. Really interesting stuff. 12% barrel rate, 48% hard hit rate. Is this a guy that could potentially one day be a really good player, Bubba, or is this maybe just a small sample size fodder?
I'm I'm stuck in the middle on Canzone. Like the numbers you read off are outstanding. He seems so like blah. Like before yesterday, it's 7 home runs. You're like, okay, that's fine,
Yeah.
but you could stream that easy on a waiver wire, unless you play in a WRC plus league. It's really kind of like it's cool. Like the batting average is good. He's probably more 15 team fodder than 12 team, but he's young and maybe the reps are gonna prove to be valuable at some time. I have a tough time with him because I don't believe it all just yet.
Seeing some news in the chat. I don't know if this has been confirmed, but Wilson Contreras has been declared out for the season. Oh, man.
He's going on the IL with the biceps injury. He left Tuesday's game after getting hit by a pitch on Monday, being banged up. Left Tuesday, and it pretty much felt like they're going to shut him down for the year. So he's going to hit the IL. Like, I don't know if they made the IL official, but the rumors were swirling this morning. He's going to the IL, which would, yes, end his season.
As of 55 minutes ago, they put him on the IL. So that closes the book on Wilson Contreras ever going in the catcher spot again for fantasy baseball. Get the sad kazoos out. Thank you for your service. The last year here, 20 homers, 70 runs, 80 ribbies, 5 steals with a 257. Mwah. Beautiful, beautiful way to send him off. Now, who are we replacing him with? Drake Baldwin, Samuel Basayo. I like both. Bubba, you're the catcher guy. I'll defer to you here.
I'm going to – that's really good. Baldwin started to hit again. It's been a dire situation there. I'm going to go Basayo, but both are very solid. If you're in a waiver format, put bids in on both and see which one you land with.
Yeah. If they move him in offseason, will Herrera actually catch next year? So I don't think Wilson factors into the catching anymore. Herrera didn't catch down the stretch because they were working him back from an injury. Opening day 2026, Herrera's behind the plate. No, Bubba? You think so?
Yes and no. He's working his way back from injury. That was the key caveat here, but he wasn't playing a ton to begin with because his defense sucks. That was the thing, is like Paez's defense is better. They had other options that had better defense, and as the Cardinals way, the Cardinals prefer let's win 3-2 with great defense and good pitching. That's how they've been for it. I'm not knocking the Giants. That's their philosophy as well. So I get it, and it's worked very well for the Cardinals for years. It'd be great if Ferrer was behind the plate more for all of our needs, because right now that util only just crushes his fantasy value.
In season next year, even if you take him util only, he'll need 10 games in season on NFBC, and that should happen at some point.
Yes.
That should
for sure. It's just a matter. It's more when, not if, that happens.
Yes.
So again, people probably hate this discussion. I love him in draft champions because his ADP should, in theory, there's a lot of smart players, so they all be on the same page. That ADP should fall, and if it does, you could stash him, basically have an extra catcher down the stretch. So yes.
Now, if you are playing on, I believe Yahoo, ESPN, a couple other sites, he played 14 games behind the dish, so some of them he'll still qualify. You won't have to make that. Yeah, with Yahoo, you trip over home plate, you're a catcher eligible player.
Right now,
Brandon Lau
is a catcher.
Yeah,
Framber Alvarez, is a catcher. Yordan Alvarez. I'm an idiot. I can't even talk right now. God.
You'll get easy for you to say, Bubba. We'll get there. Brandon Lau, 2 for 5 yesterday with a home run, and he drove in 4. Really good stuff from him for the season as a whole. Brandon Lau has been very solid. And then Freddie Peralta, another great start, 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run with 10 strikeouts. Just a great season from Freddie Peralta where he's really been underrated. I mean, he was underrated heading into the year. Maybe he's gotten his fair praise during the season, but man, he's been great. On the down, Paul Skenes had a stinker, 3 2/3, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Is there any chance that he's maybe running out of steam a little bit here, you think, Bubba? Could that be the reason for this?
Maybe, or he's just having a bad start. Like pitchers have bad starts; they can't be perfect 24/7. Even elite Pedro, he still had an ERA of 2.22. So there was a couple of rough outings out there. I'm not too worried about it. It's also, do you want to pitch in Pittsburgh in September? Like, what are we playing for right now? We're just kind of going through the motions, anyways. So yeah,
this is true. One more start for him, it looks like, which will come at Cincinnati at Great American Ballpark against Hunter Green, which should be interesting. I think that'll be next Wednesday if the schedule sticks to what it looks like right now. James Wood, who we already talked about earlier, 0 for 5 with a golden sombrero, just miserable. And then Michael King, 3 innings, 10 hits, 8 earned runs. I mean, I'm facing him in my head-to-head final, so I like it from that perspective. But I don't like it from a Michael King health perspective. His next start is against the White Sox, and then after that versus Arizona. Would you be willing to start him after what we saw last night?
No. It was a combination of, I think they just left him out there to get his pitch count up, and it didn't work, obviously, to a combination of, I don't know how healthy he is, Joe. I really don't, because it's been such a weird year. It seems like he's continually working back from something. I'm just out. I'll be back in next year probably, but I'm out right now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's totally fair. Like we mentioned, the White Sox are no slouch right now, and Arizona can get to you on any given night as well. So I think it's probably better to just maybe honestly drop Michael King and let somebody else worry about picking him up and saying, "Oh, Michael King's on the wire." Like, I don't think that he is worth it at this point. Let's get to the sad news, though. The injury report: Bo Bichette will not return before the end of the regular season due to his knee injury. Thank you, Austin Wells. Not happy about that one, but we'll take what we got from Bo. It was a great season. He was on pace to lead the league in hits, potentially win the batting title. You take what you've got from him. I think he's finishing up as the number 7 shortstop, so we'll chalk that up as a W. We'll chalk this one up as a huge L. Yordan Alvarez dealing with a significant ankle sprain. If you guys saw this one, he just did his, everybody's done it. They've twisted their ankle, taken a wrong step. But Yordan Alvarez, it seems like this guy, every other step he takes is a wrong step, Bubba. I'm at the point where unless he's like a 4th or 5th rounder, I don't want to touch him next year. What about you?
Yeah, he's been off my board for a couple of years, and people have argued with me that I'm crazy, and I get it, but this is why. Like, I'm just not, like, if you look at his Fangraphs page or whatever site you want to use, the just overall production, we've read it off before. It's not what you want from a number 1 first-round pick.
Yeah, I mean, on a per-game basis, he's one of the best hitters in baseball, without a doubt. But when you're potentially playing 40 games in the season, is it worth it, right? If he's in the 4th or 5th round, I think that would have to be it for me, right? I'd think about it in the 3rd, maybe, but he's got to fall. Like you need production in the early rounds. You said it, we've all said it. You can't be getting 200 at bats out of your 1st round pick. Zach Neto was placed on the IL with a hand strain, which should effectively end his season, but a very impressive season for Zach Neto. After missing the first part of the year, he's been unbelievable. Jordan Westbury activated from the IL on Tuesday, and Cole Reagans, like we mentioned, will return to the Royals rotation against the Mariners. Any chance Kurtz doesn't win Rookie of the Year? No.
I think Kurtz winning. If Kurtz doesn't win Rookie of the Year, I won't eat for 3 months.
I mean, Nick Kurtz is having a season that is a historic rookie season. We've seen great rookie years before, but Nick Kurtz, if you're like, he's not on qualified leaderboard, so you have to kind of mess around with the playing time filters. The highest WRC plus in baseball, all-encompassing offensive number. What is your offensive output this year? Aaron Judge is number 1. Nick Kurtz is number 2, ahead of Shohei, Springer, Raleigh, Schwarber, Soto. He's been unbelievable. 32 homers, 80 runs, 80 ribbies. If he doesn't win Rookie of the Year, then I will fly to the league office and I will protest myself. But
I think we have a better chance of Nick Kurtz winning Rookie of the Year than Ken Rosenthal apologizing to his cameraman.
Dude, he's such a donkey. Oh my god, yeah. that look, that it wasn't even just the knocking the guy over. You knock the guy over. You pick a guy up if you knock him over. It was the The look of disgust he gave him.
Like,
And then
why
he
were you in
flipped.
my way?
Oh my God, that was awful. And then he tried to do like a half an apology, but it's like, come on, Ken. Like that was really awful. Single-handedly took me to my championship and made up for drafting Ellie. That's how you do it. You compensated by
That's the
taking
answer.
one of the best rookie seasons really ever. Mike Petriello wrote about it recently. Really one of the best rookie seasons we're ever going to see. But let's get to our favorite part of the show, and that is the best bets of the day. Bubba, looks like you're sticking on brand here mostly, but you've mixed it up and you also have a strikeout over by the looks of it. So let's hear it.
Yeah, we're gonna go with Matt Olson. He faces the good Lord, Brad Lord, on Wednesday here. Matt Olson's been streaking really, really hot. He's homering almost every other day, it feels like. I'll take my chances on that one in Washington over 3 hits, runs, and RBIs for plus 130. Trent Grisham is doing his thing. Hit an absolute bomb off of Zebby Matthews on Tuesday. Leading off for the Yanks, they face Taj Bradley, who I still don't believe is fixed. So over 3 hits, runs, and RBIs for leadoff hitter for the Yanks at plus 140. And then I'm going into Coors. I'm taking it on because I was shocked to see this number. Ryan Weathers, I understand, pitch count, all that stuff. He was allowed to have 85 pitches his last start, so it feels like he should be rather stretched out. So over 5 strikeouts in Coors Field at plus 155 sounds like a bet worth taking in my mind.
I think absolutely at that line, plus 155. That's gold, Jerry. That is gold. Let's get to mine. Start with Jesus Luzardo. This one might look a little weird taking an under bet on Jesus Luzardo, but the Dodgers really aren't striking out a ton. If you look over the last few weeks, they're below 20% strikeout rate. Luzardo, he's kind of a wild card. You never really know what you're going to get out of him. So getting the under 5.5 might feel a little bit risky, but at plus 130, it is a bet that I'm willing to take. I'm taking the Padres straight up on the money line. Nick Pivetta versus David Peterson, who hasn't really been as good in the second half. And the Mets have been, I know they've won their last 2 games, but the Mets have kind of been in free fall mode. So just taking the Padres there with a pure money line. And then Mariners Royals over 8.5 runs. We've talked about how it's Cole Reagan's first start back. You never really know what you're going to get. But on the other side of that, you especially don't know what you're going to get because it's Bryce Miller, who has been also pretty poor as a whole this season. So over 8.5, minus 110, slight bit of juice there, but we will take it. And make sure you guys are checking out the prop bet cheat sheet. If you are looking for some help with placing your bets, it'll help highlight new markets for you, the best bets across different books, makes everything easy for you over on our sister site at Betting Pros. But that will take us to the home run call segment of the show. I'm personally going with your guy, Agustin Ramirez, today in Coors Field, and he's facing McCade Brown. We'll get to my apologies, Seth. We'll get to the home run board in a second. I'm a poor host today, Bubba. Let's see your home run call.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Matt Olson here. I talked about him for his prop bet. I love the power he's been showcasing. He's heating up. Good hitting environment in Washington. Great hitting environment in the pitching machine called Brad Lord. So, yeah, give me Matt Olson.
Apologies, Seth. Let's throw the home run board back up for a quick second here. 62 for Whips, 60 for Positive Grouch, 59 for George, 59 for Bees, and 59 for the Fisher King. Really, really tight stuff. I mean, if anybody has like a 2 or 3 home run game at this point, that could really sway things. Whips is starting to creak away here. If Whips gets a 2 or 3 home run game, that might be curtains on the Sammy Sosa jersey. But we still have, I think, 12 or so games left for these teams. So make sure you guys are getting your picks in there on the Fantasy Pros Discord. It looks like our last question for the show is, will Trey Savage pitch again this week? I think he will pitch on the weekend against the Royals in Kansas City. That's what things are lining up to be. Toronto has been a little bit unpredictable. I wouldn't have thought that he'd even be in the rotation at all. This is historically not something Toronto has ever done. A guy in Lauer who is doing well, you take him out of the rotation, you bring up a rookie like this. It's very uncharacteristic, so they could potentially move some parts around. But Savage, I believe, will be getting the start this weekend in Kansas City. But regardless, he is worth holding on to, even if they happen to move him back or something and you keep him. He'll still get at least one more start before the end of the season. And based on what we saw in that first one, I think you are definitely going to want to have that in your lineup. Bubba, that will do it, my friend. We're T-3 shows down. We're now down to 2 for the fantasy baseball season. Great getting to talk with you again, my friend.
Always a pleasure. Look forward to chatting again on Friday and seeing what interesting situations have developed in the world of baseball. Up till then.
2 days in the baseball world is a lifetime, but we'll be here breaking it all down for you, talking some headlines, and we'll continue to do. If you guys liked what you saw in terms of the streaming and stuff like that, let me know in the comments. We can continue to talk about some pitching streamers, some hot hitter pickups. But yeah, leave your comments below. You can get a chance to win that signed Billy Wagner baseball, and leave your subscriptions and everything on the channel. Comment, like, subscribe, do all that great stuff to help us fend off the football crowd this time of year. Help out the little brother, which is fantasy baseball. Guys, that will do it for us. I'm Joe Orrico, joined by Casey Bubba. We will talk to you again next time right here on Fantasy Pros. Take care, everybody. We need Rosenthal look as an emoji on Twitch. If we can make it happen, we'll make it happen. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, he's a special breed, that boy. Special breed.
He is Napoleon, like